So, this is Prof AI. What you're looking at here is, in fact, our chat function. And so you can ask it a question like, what's some research that could make these slides more interesting? And it'll actually pull from these like published sources from PubMeds and Semantic Scholar and look at your slides directly and find you exact things that match, which I think is pretty interesting. So that this way, if you want to like have some specific research that correlates with what you're teaching, or kind of make it more current, then you can use this. There's also a collaborate feature. Now the collaborate feature, it's more so about like giving you general ideas for ways and directions you can take your teaching or the presentation. And so, for example, here, I'm asking, can you give me some examples that look at the slides concepts and actually go in depth about why they are good concepts and good examples, and a little bit more about like the history as well. And it'll do exactly that. And so this can be very helpful. For example, if you are teaching some like advanced material and maybe you made the presentation like a couple of years ago and you want to kind of like bring it up to date. This is our module system. So I've designed this after kind of like Canvas/File Explorer because that's like most easy to use for professors because they're familiar with it. You can make your modules, you can make your classes, and the whole system is actually drag and drop. And so you're actually able to very easily navigate and build and kind of change this around as you want to. As you can see right here, I can pick it up and just drop it down. Perfect. This is our adding material page. Very simple. It can take in PDF, MP4s, PPTs, and you just select your PowerPoint or wherever you put it, and it just breaks it down into chunks for you. This is the gaps analysis page. This is really cool. It essentially has every lecture you've done and the PowerPoint that you've done it on. And so it looks at that transcript and it looks at your lecture and it finds what you've like what are like the main points of your lecture and what you covered in your lecture and what you didn't cover compared to your PowerPoint. So you can see right here, I didn't cover the Russian Empire, like the rebellion. I didn't cover the um Qing Dynasty or all these things about the Russian Empire. You can have a look at there. And then at the bottom here, you can click Generate Artifacts. And what this does is it actually is summaries for your students. And not just summaries, it's summaries to study guides and quizzes. And this will pull directly from your lecture and the PowerPoint. And so, um, if you've given like a big lecture and you have a lot of professors have like specific things in like their lecture that's like not on their PowerPoints, this will catch that, and so that your students can still use it to kind of study and learn. This right here is a study guide, as you can see, and yep. So at the bottom there, it breaks down the relationships, it breaks down the weaknesses, breaks down the definitions. Very, very useful stuff. And then right here is a quiz, and so this quiz I made it so it's got a couple sections. They've got a couple practice multiple choice questions. There's a couple short answer, and there's a couple like long answer as well. And so like this could be like a very good jumping off point if you're a professor to kind of like, you can modify these a little bit or you can change this entirely, and I can even help you with that if you need to. And so this is like the main point of this. This is in fact the live lecture function. So you can name your lecture, you can pick what material you're teaching out of modules and presentations specifically. It'll connect, it'll warm up our local LLM, and then it starts the process of live transcribing. I'm actually very, very proud of this. And so as you speak, it starts transcribing as as you're going, and on the right there what you can see is life gaps, and so it's figured out what you have to cover from the presentation, generally speaking, and as you cover it, or as you kind of go on, it will update in real time. And so you'll see just in a second here, I have covered the Russian Empire's collapse, so it'll go from partial to green any second now. um There's also a QA history, which you'll see what that used for in a second. Right there, there we are. It just popped up green. Um, the QA history is because there's also an Ask AI function. And so part of the reason that we've built this is, if you want to ask, if your students have like a certain question that you like aren't fully aware of or don't know how to fully answer, you can ask the AI a technical or like a example question, and it'll talk to you. It'll keep the lecture in context. It'll keep previous questions in context, and it's even capable of looking up things in real time actually, and it actually speaks to you as well, as you'll see in a second here. Hey, so what are some modern examples of the concepts that we talk about in the presentation that people can kind of like better understand or relate to?
Modern Turkey's ongoing struggle to balance secular governance with rising religious influence, like debates over religious expression in public life, directly echoes the Ottoman Empire's Tanzimat reforms and the backlash they provoked. Similarly, the current tensions in Ukraine over national identity and ethnic integration reflect the same historical dynamics of empire, nationalism, and cultural friction we've been discussing.